Hello, and welcome to Soul Play, where we explore the art of living with curiosity, connection, and creativity. I'm your host, Sarah Benoit, and I'm so incredibly grateful you're here. Throughout my journey, I've crossed paths with remarkable individuals, guests who join us here to share their wisdom, stories, and practical insights. These inspiring voices are shaping a better world, offering perspectives and tools that my younger self would have loved to discover. Soul Play is more than just a podcast. It's an invitation for all of us to show up authentically, reclaim our power, and reconnect with the essence of who we truly are. Today's guest is Maida Gayle. Maida is a ceremonial musician, vocalist, and artist specializing in heart-opening, intuitive singing. She is the lead vocalist for TUKU, a psychedelic tribal punk band in Chiang Mai, and she is also a guide for vocal alchemy. Her offerings include transformational voice awakening workshops, along with earthy-ethereal sound journeys, where she uses her voice and world instruments to transport you into other realms while grounding you deep into your body here and now. Maida creates music and art to give reverence to her Filipino ancestors and to celebrate Indigenous ways of life around the world. In this episode, we explore the pivotal moments that shape Maida's artistic journey, from turning to painting after a life-altering mini-stroke to rediscovering music through sound healing. We dive into the creative pulse of Chiang Mai, discuss the vulnerability and thrill of musical improvisation, and share insights on trusting your creative spark. Whether you're an artist, a dreamer, or just seeking inspiration, this episode invites you to connect with the power of creative expression. Without further ado, I welcome Maida Gayle. Maida!
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me here. I'm so excited to be here and to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I'm really inspired by you. From the moment I met you at a beautiful venue here in Chiang Mai, Thailand, you were performing, and I was really struck by your voice and your musicality. And since that time, I've been able to kind of observe you from afar and see the creative expressions that you've really showcased in this world. And I would love for you to start by introducing yourself, and really, how did you come to where you are today with creativity, with art, with singing, with all of your offerings? How did that come to be?
Wow. Thank you so much for just welcoming me in this space, first of all. It's been, wonderful to get to know you as well. And my background, so I am Filipino Canadian, born in Canada, raised in Canada, to two beautiful Filipino parents, one brother, and just grew up with a lot of music around me. My mother says that I would just sing from the crib from when I was born up until however. So I've been in communion with music and art and creativity since a really young age, and went through a lot of different series of creating music competitions, weddings, events, different family get-togethers, my grandmother asking me to sing for Christmas for money, a lot of different ways. And then when I moved to Asia after I graduated, I started singing in bars and then doing cover songs and kind of just doing my thing with music. But then when I was about 26 years old, I had a TIA stroke, is what they're calling it now. And it happened on the left side of my body. So the doctors were very confused because it just was really random, out of nowhere. And so this kind of really, really affected me physically, emotionally, mentally, everything. So it's like everything that I knew kind of just started to crumble.
Dissolve.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. So I actually stopped singing and stopped making music at this time. I was really trying to find my place. Yeah. But it's also when I found painting and music. It was kind of like I needed to put my emotions somewhere, but for some reason I couldn't sing, but my hands could paint. I would just see colors and I just needed to put them somewhere, put my emotions somewhere. And so I started painting. And then, next thing you know, I find myself in Hanoi, Vietnam, where the creative community there really, really inspired me and lifted me up. It just pushed me, basically, just by being themselves, giving me opportunities to showcase my art and just to be inspired by everything that everyone was doing there in Hanoi. And so, yeah, that's what sparked a lot of that creativity in me. And then I moved and I went to India, and I experienced a sound bath for the first time where people were singing with it at the same time, and something really just kind of unlocked. And at the end of their session, they said, "Welcome home." And I just started crying, and I just spontaneously started singing at like one of my yoga tests like that I had to do for my teacher training. And from there on, it just kind of flourished. And then, long story short, I found myself in Chiang Mai, and the city is just a wonderful place for self-discovery, creation, music, art, and all of that. And so, yeah, it's here where I also connected with my ancestors, and I'm now just making music in honor of them and in honor of what we need to bring in the future. So, yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Wow. And, it sounds like music has been a humongous part of your life since you came out really into this world, and as it continued over time, there was a reevaluation at that point with a major medical issue. It really does shake everything up, right? That sounds like a really challenging time, which creative expression has ways of transmuting experiences like that. And I'm happy that you could find creative expression through art and then finding your way across the globe, exploring new ways of sound and music and creativity and community. I couldn't agree more with what you said about Chiang Mai being such a creative haven here. Yeah. And so what does that look like today? What are you up to here in Chiang Mai?
Wow. So today I am, one of the main things I do is I sing with this really awesome didgeridoo, tribally primal band called TUKU, who they've been on the streets of Chiang Mai, starting there at the Sunday market 8 years ago, and then had me come on to the team about a year ago. It was after a jam, and they were like, "We need a vocalist, and we want you." And so that's been a really transformative journey. They've unlocked like parts of me that I didn't even know existed, to be able to just sing and dance the way that I do with the didgeridoos on stage. And so yeah, I'm doing that, and I offer a lot of voice awakening, voice opening workshops and one-to-one sessions, as well as sound healing, using a lot of different Indigenous instruments. And so that's the base of what I do right now, and also offering paintings here and there, and have intentions to keep offering these paintings more and more as the time goes on. So yeah, that's what I'm up to.
Amazing. And for those that are tuning in to the video, this is your painting here behind you, is that right?
Yes, I actually painted this, 2016 or 17 in Hanoi, on my rooftop balcony in a house I lived with a good friend painting next to it, Travis. And yeah, it was just like a sunny afternoon, and somehow it made it here to Chiang Mai. I think Travis had it for a few years, and now it's here in 2024, and it's just amazing that I can be doing a podcast right next to it.
Absolutely.
In a total different city. So yeah, it's really beautiful.
Space and time, it's trippy like that. It's lived many lives, this painting, it sounds like.
Yeah, amazing.
And you speak to Indigenous instruments. Could you go a bit further into that? I see you also have a drum next to us.
Yeah. So, the ceremonial drum, this is, if you look at many different cultures throughout the world, it's like it pops up in Indigenous cultures everywhere, coming in on their own. It's not like one country kind of made it. As far as I know in my research, I could be wrong, but it's just everywhere. So for me, it's a sign of like just universality and unity. And so that's why I sing with it and I play with it. And then along my path in Chiang Mai, all these instruments just started to show up. I never like seek them out, was like, I really want to play the ngoni, West African harp. I really want to play the handpan. It was just like through circumstance. My partner actually makes ngonis. And so through our interaction, I'm like, oh, there's just ngonis in the house. Let me just tinker with this and see how it goes. And then, little Native American flutes that we make from our bamboo. in the backyard. So yeah, they just kind of like introduced themselves to me slowly over time, and I used them for my own meditation. For a while, I wasn't really offering much in Chiang Mai, just kind of like discovering these instruments on my own. And so I like to play them to connect back to my roots, connect back to my ancestry, something that is really important to me over the recent years. Because growing up in Canada, I didn't want to be, like, I was embarrassed that my food smelled a certain way, or like I brought food like to lunch and I had to eat it with my hands, or like my parents' language sounded weird, like I wanted to be very, very Canadian, you know? But then growing up being like, who am I really? Where am I from? And what was there before, you know, the missionaries came to the Philippines? What did we celebrate? How did we connect to nature? Because when you go to the Philippines now, there's Catholic churches everywhere, which is really cool, and like it's part of our history. But it's like I'm always curious of like, what was before that, and why don't we practice these things of what our Indigenous people practiced before? Why don't we see more of them like we do in some countries, you know? And so it's kind of a way that I can connect to them, is through music and through the songs that come out of my heart when I play them. So yeah.
Beautiful. So healing, it sounds like, too. And what sparked this exploration? Do you have a moment in time where you were like, oh, I need to explore this further, and you felt comfortable doing so? How did that unfold?
Yeah, I think it was probably like the first year that I moved to Chiang Mai. I was exposed to a lot of different amazing musicians from all over the world that were playing like traditional Chinese instruments, traditional African instruments that I never experienced like listening to before, but even like seeing. And yeah, just seeing them play these instruments really inspired me. And listening to Isan music, which is really traditional Isan music, just to see that like in present day that they're playing these instruments and singing these songs, I was like, how can I do that too, you know? And like now I'm on this journey to, you know, research what are these old songs that we used to sing in the Philippines? What are the songs of the Indigenous people? What is the language that we sang in? And so I don't know that it was one moment, but rather just like an influence and an inspiration for of the people that I've met along my way in these travels. So
amazing.
Yeah.
And is that something that you can connect with your family?
I think that a lot of my family back home can only see what I put up on social media.
Sure.
So one of my desires is to be able to go home and share this music with them, because the Maida they know is singing pop songs or singing for weddings or singing songs from church. And so, I really hope that I could, you know, share this with them. And I'm sure that from what I've heard that they're really, really happy with and supportive of what I'm doing. So
it's powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
And I also noticed that you have some face paint.
Yes.
Yes. Can you speak to that a bit? It's beautiful.
Yeah, so I do it for many reasons, but two main reasons would be, first, it's just a form of self-expression. I love to paint, and I use my face as canvas to kind of just express myself. And secondly, it's an honoring of tuk-tuk. Tuk-tuk is like Indigenous Philippines tattooing we use with the bone or the bamboo. And they used to put them all over their bodies to tell them stories, to tell the stories of what they've gone through. And so each line, each dot has a specific meaning. For my face, when I put them on for before I perform with TUKU, I don't necessarily do things to have like a meaning. It's just more of just to honor this tradition. And so I do that to express and to give honor to them. So
amazing.
Yeah.
An expression of artistry throughout.
Yeah.
Incredible. You know, if I can go back to something that you mentioned earlier, whenever you went on that stage with TUKU for the first time, if I can quote you, I think you said something like, I didn't know that I could feel or dance or express in that way. What do you think changed in that moment?
Oh, Matt, I feel like, it went from I'm singing a song to perform for people and have them hear my voice to I'm singing and moving the way that something deep inside me has always wanted to dance and sing. And I describe it now as like, it's the song of my ancestors, it's the dance of my ancestors. It's no longer a performance, but rather the song and the expression that has always been wanting to come out and needs to come out. And it's like, not performance, but like a channeling now of like opening myself up to this portal of music that connects me to my roots and then just comes out and through me. And then that energy just emanates forward and to whoever is receiving it. It becomes not about me, but about the sound and the music and the way that it connects us to our most primal selves and our most truest nature, I think.
Our essence, our fire that we all possess, that sometimes we can get lost in, you know, this world where we do feel quite separate from one another. But that's one of the environments where, for me too, I resonate deeply with music, you know, creative expression through music, particularly jamming, just the flowy nature of it, the unpredictability, the true. Channeling is a really great word, actually, you know, because I feel like it does really allow you to embody that moment and express, you know, leave the mind and enter. Yeah, you could say body or you could say energy, vibration.
Yeah, it's like a deep flow. And when you're doing that with other people, it's like you're connecting to something that's totally beyond this like 3D realm. And then the form that it brings out in the music, it's just like otherworldly. And yeah, it's just a way to connect to the heart, I think.
Absolutely. And this is bringing up the topic that I really wanted to get on with you, is the topic of healing, or you could also call it remembering our essence through something like an avenue of music. It sounds like you do that both in your band, I imagine personally, and in other jam spaces. In your vocal awakening, like workshops that you provide, is this something that you try to awaken within people? Try to awaken, you know, if you could speak to that.
Yeah, so the reason why I do these voice awakening sessions is because of the power that I found in my own voice to be that source of healing for myself after the stroke. So before, singing had been something that I did. I was a vocalist, musician, but then after the stroke, I started to sing to just make myself feel better. I finally made the connection, because music universally makes people feel great. But then when it came to actually healing my body, my soul, my spirit, my mind, I recognized that when I just hum or sang to myself, whatever came up in each moment, it really, really, really helped me and really brought me back to myself. And so this is like a tool, a resource that we all have as humans, that we can use as medicine and as healing. And so I have these sessions not so that people need to feel like they have to keep coming to see me, but so that they can unlock it within themselves and realize, oh, I got it myself. I can heal myself. Okay. And like, if you don't ever need to come to any one of my sessions anymore because you're like, I know what to do, then that's my job is done. You know, it's beautiful. And it doesn't mean that like, just because you unlock with the voice, you're going to be this amazing singer or you're going to be in music, but maybe it, you know, knocks on the door of something else, of like, oh, I use this as healing. Maybe I can do this, or maybe I can express myself in this way. So it's teaching people to really open up to the forms of expression that their true and highest self, I guess you could say, wants to express, you know. So yeah, everyone has it. We're all creators and creatives.
Absolutely. Creators and creatives. I love that, you know, and all I'm hearing is empowerment, right? Because it's not this idea of, come back to me and we'll do another session times this. It really is, you have an innate capacity to connect with yourself, and I'm here to remind you of that. And once it's been ignited, enjoy, explore, discover, create. Exactly. And, you know, individually it's so powerful, and also collectively. You know, if I can speak to, we did the Soul Play launch party here at Kindred Studio where we're recording, and I knew right away, basically, when I was making the lineup, I was like, I want Maida to close out the night, and we didn't super talk about it, but I imagined some form of collaborative, connected jam. That times infinity happened. We went places that night, and it was really special. So bringing that individual, innate curiosity, exploration, kind of landing into the depth of essence, but then taking it outside of individuality, right? Yeah. And then you're blurring the lines of what is sound, what is vibration, what is physical form. It's so beautiful to unify in those spaces.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just amazing. The very first time I can remember feeling that sort of connection is like when you sing in a congregation at church. This is what I grew up with. And there's nothing like that feeling of like you're devoted all to this one thing that's like bigger than you, and the voices that connect, the vibration that connects you together, and then experiencing that in like choirs. But then now in my life, if we can experience that here in music jams and the songs that we sing together, or just even oming together, there's nothing. Yeah, it blurs the line between me and you. It's just this one voice that we have. Yeah.
Beautiful unity. And in quite a polarizing world, I think we need to come back to that, right? It's so important to remember how we are alike and there is commonality amongst this human experience, and we can delve into a deeply connected experience like vocal jamming, for example. It's such a powerful tool, and it's beautiful. It's like breathing, it's like singing. Any of these things, thankfully, they come with this human body, right? So we can explore them.
Yeah, I'm so grateful. That we just have these other ways of exploring and expressing and discovering ourselves.
Yeah, big time. And so with your partner, like you mentioned, he's making ceremonial drums. So is that something that you offer here in Chiang Mai, or what does that look like for you guys?
Yeah, so we just have a tiny little workshop that we made at the back of our shed, back of our house in the shed. And yeah, just I think one day woke up. This always happens to him. He wakes up and he's like, I'm going to make a flute today. And then like chops the bamboo and then makes flute. And then he's like, can you test this out? Because he's an instrument maker, but isn't necessarily a musician per se. So it's just a great partnership, I think, and collaboration that we can do this together. And we've just kind of, for friends here and there, have had requests, can you make this drum for us? And we've happily done that. And so we've got a few drums and flutes and West African harps that he makes as well.
Amazing.
We love offering that to the community here.
Absolutely. And, I've spoke to this in other episodes in the podcast, but Chiang Mai is just like a creative haven. A lot of musicians, a lot of open-minded people that are just really keen to discover new ways of being, especially through the way of creativity.
Oh yeah. I can't man, I just love Chiang Mai, and I'm sure that there are many cities that are similar to this place. I read something somewhere, I think I spoke to you about it before, that in Thailand, they give horoscopes to each city. And Chiang Mai's horoscope basically says that it's like a feminine spirit that calls in art, music, creativity. So if you're drawn to these things, then the city calls you. And so I'm like, yeah, that's definitely
affirmative.
Affirmative. Yeah, it's that place, because it's really rare, I feel, because when you go back to the West, not all places are like this, but it's very much, in my experience, it's easy to get stuck in this vortex of the 9 to 5. Not that it's wrong to have a 9 to 5, because the 9 to 5 works for some people, but for others, it's like it's just a beacon of light and hope, because it's like there is other ways that that life can be lived, and you can express yourself and create what it is you want. This freedom to create what you want here. It's not like you have to go through so many hoops and loops to try to do what you want. It's just the city is just go for it. And
container.
It's been a really wonderful practicing ground, or just learning ground for me. Chiang Mai is perfecting and exploring my craft in this city. Yeah.
Incredible. Looks great on you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and similarly, I pay so much homage to Chiang Mai. That's where soul play has been born, where I've felt so seen and held and heard by members of the community, and really encouraged to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's terrifying, actually, at one point in time or for an extended period of time. Is that something that you resonate? Like, was there some areas of fear there for you? Because you seem very alive and vibrant and radiant in your expression today, but really to kind of speak to that process a bit deeper.
Yes, amazing. Yeah. If you met me maybe 4 years ago, there's this festival in Chiang Mai called Shambhala, which is a music jamming festival mainly. And I remember my first Shambhala just like seeing all these jams. Like, I don't even think I ever had been to a jam. What was a jam? I don't know. All I knew was you gotta rehearse, there's practice, and you sing at this time. It was like people are just making this stuff up on the spot. What?
Foreign, what does this mean?
I was like, what? Okay.
I'm equally terrified and super intrigued.
Yeah, so it's just like, here's me who's been classically trained in singing, and I'm just like in awe of this like girl in like, she has cat ears on and she has like some crazy costume, and she's just like on the ukulele, just singing about how she's feeling in this moment. It was like life-changing for me. It was at Shambhala and Jaitep. Yeah, it was the first festival. And so, yeah, if you met me 4 years ago, I would try to sing the music jam. I'd be like, na, 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 na. There's a melody in my head, but I'm too shy to sing it out loud. And so I went from that to then connecting with the local musicians here in Chiang Mai, and my friend Bank, Sukum, and then the TUKU members, and a lot of these wonderful musicians in Chiang Mai. They are like my brothers who really kind of just pushed me, but so gently, but so also just like, just go and do it already.
This needs to happen.
Yeah, and it was like this deep trust that they had in me, and this belief of like, if you just do it, you'll learn. And so I don't ever remember having rehearsals except for the ones that I called, which are great, but it's like their outlook is like, you learn as you do it. You learn on the stage. So it's like, no, just go and do it. And so they've really opened up lots of doors for me in the city in terms of like learning how to just jam and to just make music and create with them, whether it's on the spot in a public venue, or if it's in someone's house, or if it's just, you know, wherever it is. Music making is music making wherever you are. So yeah, it's a beautiful transformation. I can't believe how much has happened in 4 years.
Absolutely. So, right. Wow. Thank you for sharing. And it's so encouraging, right? Just do it. Yeah. Get out there. And it's scary, and it absolutely, I understand that experientially also. There has been a lot of fear in my journey of like putting myself out there, both musically, with the podcast, with anything that I'm offering, you know. But as a guitar teacher, this is how I express with students, right? There is a lot of fear. Oh no, I can't. It's like, you can though. You absolutely, you are designed to do this. And the only thing that is stopping you is your mind, right? And these stories, which as a fellow human, I hear all these people with these stories, because I've been one and continue to be at times, of course, right? It's part of this journey. But it sounds like you've had a really wholesome, beautiful, kind, but also firm.
Yes,
gentle, loving, firm,
loving.
Yeah, like we see your light. Let's get you somewhere where you can see it yourself too and feel it.
Yeah, exactly. If I could quote Nuclear with just let your light shine, just shine.
Absolutely.
Like, she was really pivotal part too. Just her little shine, like in music jams, and just let your light shine. Don't dim yourself, because I learned throughout all of this is that when you shine, then it gives permission for other people to show themselves, to just be them. Because it's like, could you imagine if like this plant or like this flower was like, I should be less colorful? Like, it wouldn't give you joy. I see the color in this flower, I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes me so happy. So it's like, if you tap into that and just be who you are, then it gives everyone around you just that same feeling of joy that it gives you to be who you are and to be yourself. So yeah.
Well put. I couldn't agree more. You know, it's even at Shambhala, like you just mentioned, this woman with the cat ears and the ukulele, she was an inspiring force, it sounds like, right?
Yeah.
And the countless others over the course of time. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it was just, I don't even remember what she's saying, but it was like just that one little like glimpse and like instant of her just being who she is, basically changed the trajectory of my life. Like, I mean, really dramatic, but like that in many different little sequences. So it's like, yeah, keep being you.
Yeah. And if that feels out of reach for people, is there any kind of actionable insights or little practical tips that you personally could offer to listeners?
Yeah, first to always, it's about you and your relationship to your creation first. Like that's the energy, that's the frequency that then will like emanate out. It's like if we come at it as if I'm going to make this thing so that it's going to be this big thing and that people are going to blah, blah, blah. For me personally, that has never worked. But when I come back to this, oh, there's this thing that I want to do, and I actually sit with it like it's a person and have a conversation, like, are you this creation that wants to like interact with me just for me? Or are you in this creation that wants to interact with me, and what do you want me to do with you, and how is it going to come out? Like just being you and the creation first, I feel like just will answer all of the other questions really easily. And I know that's very vague and very like
it's also simple, right? It's very simple, like coming back to self. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so just don't force yourself to do something that you feel super, super uncomfortable with, but know that balance of like challenging yourself. You know, if you write a song, or if you've painted something, maybe show your friend, maybe, show your mom, or, just see what happens when you do something that's just a little bit outside of your comfort zone, and see the power that you actually do have, the strength that you do have, the talent that you have, the gifts that you have. And that in itself is creation, it's a gift. You just see it as a gift that you have that needs to be shared. So,
and we're ready for you.
Yes.
We're ready for everyone and all of their gifts.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Unlock it. Yeah, keep doing that. Any other tips and tricks? I feel like I have a lot. What I did a lot was something called morning pages from the Artist's Way. This really, really helped. It's like a clearing of the mind. It's like when you wake up, you blow your nose and like you do all your morning routines. This I did for maybe like 5 years straight, and within this time was when I created the most songs that I have in one little short span of time. It really helped to just clear the mind. So I really suggest something like morning pages, or something that helps you to ground and clear, to make room for these beautiful things that are coming through.
Absolutely, because it's, as a human, it's easy to get caught up in mind activity, right? And then that mind activity directs us in a certain way, and then you start to lose the idea of, okay, was that my intentionality that was put there, or a lot of energy that's just pent up in my mind at that time, right? So for those that don't know The Artist's Way, it is a book. If you could speak to the book a little bit. Yes,
so the book is I feel her name is something Campbell. And it's like a 12-week series. So every week you go through an exercise that she has you do. So one of them, like week 1, is morning pages. So you start doing the morning pages. Week 2, take yourself on a date. Basically, it's like go and find something that inspires you. And it's a 12-week like contract that you make with yourself to be intentional with you and creativity. And then doing these practices to start unlocking that. And so I feel like this is like a good starting point for anyone who feels like, just getting out and jamming or like showing their art to someone is something that is a bit far for them right now. Start with this. That's where I started this little journey. So I think,
Thank you for sharing. And I think the beauty that comes with something like this, there is structure, so there's a bit of familiarity. There's also the capacity of rewriting. So you're showing up every day, you're creating small promises that you're following through with every day, and there starts to be a new rewiring within your system, right? So okay, if you don't write every day, then tomorrow you probably won't write. But if I write today, tomorrow, the next day, habits start to form, and that's really where the magic can get unlocked, it seems.
I love the morning pages because it helps even with just like improving in life and like going with whatever's going to come out, because it doesn't have to be pretty. It's literally whatever's coming out. It doesn't need to make sense. It can just be the word like la 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 for like 5 pages, but that at least as an emptying. Yeah, so anything is good.
Yeah. And it introduces the idea of ritual, which is another really, I think, important topic of connecting to self, connecting to the world around us, and including others and plants, beings in general. What form of rituals would you say that you incorporate into your life?
Ritual is a big, deep part of my life. Growing up at church, you'd go to church every Sunday, you have rituals in church. But then now I see every kind of act as a ritual. If you treat it as a ritual, waking up and making your bed like it's a prayer, or before you start playing music in the morning, lighting some incense, or just like giving an honoring and an awareness and mindfulness to every moment that you're entering, every transition that you make throughout your day, thanking this activity or whatever it is that you're doing, thanking it for whatever it's given you, releasing whatever you don't need in that moment, and then moving on to the next one, opening ceremony to this other thing that you're doing. Now I'm meeting my friend, so it's not like, we can have like cacao ceremonies and rituals like chanting and doing all of that, but I feel like those are gateways to actually recognizing that every moment is and can be a ritual, and can be ceremonial. It's like all of it is one big ceremony.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Great distinction. And I think what comes with it too is presence, right? If we can show up presently and engage in these activities, right? And that perhaps is what stands between ritual and not. Yeah.
I think it's really important.
So I see that there's a drum here.
Yes.
I was wondering if you would be interested at all in
Sure.
exploring that with us.
Yeah. I mean, I can pull this out here. So this is actually dyed, if you can see, I don't know if you can see it in the camera much, with beet juice. So we're testing them out and seeing how long the color will last, and just made with hemp and wood as well. And then the drum is a goat skin drum. So we actually take the skins that there's like a goat slaughterhouse in Chiang Mai, and they throw the skins away. So we just kind of take them off there and then give the goat a voice again and bring it back to life in the form of music, in the form of sound. So to just ground myself again. The drum can be very grounding, but yet can also transport you.
Wow. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I hear you on that polarity, right? Like, sure, it can absolutely ground you in your body, and you can also feel connected to something so much greater and start to, go somewhere with that. Wow.
Whatever you intend, that's where it will take you.
Indeed, sure. Intention. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, thank you for having me share.
I appreciate it. And before we come to a close here, is there anything else that you feel called to share?
Oh man, just a lot of big heartfelt gratitude for you and this space and creating this platform for artists and just people of different walks of life to express themselves and to share their stories. It's a really wonderful thing that you're doing, so I'm really, really grateful. And to anyone that's listening, if you are on this journey to self-discovery and wondering what creativity or what any of this means, to just be open to the small little knocks of your heart whenever you experience something and it gives your heart a little bit of a like, ooh, go deeper and just keep going deeper and get messy with it. Nothing needs to be perfect. Make mistakes and follow your desires, because one of my greatest teachers has said that like desires are just doorways to go deeper into yourself. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a successful business. It doesn't have to be like a great performance. It's just something that wants to come through you, and just allow it. So
bring it into the world, let it be seen. Thank you, Maida. Thank you for everything that you're doing, the way you're showing up in the world. Thank you for your creative expression and for inspiring myself and I imagine many of the listeners here today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Much love. That's it for today. Thank you for listening. I truly hope that today's conversation was valuable to you. To learn more about today's guests, including links and resources related to everything discussed today, visit the episode page at soulplaycollective.com. I'm so grateful you're here, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on the show. So don't be shy. Send in your comments and let us know how each episode is resonating with you. If you'd like to support the podcast, the easiest and most impactful thing you can do is to subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on YouTube, and leave a review and/or comment. Sharing the show or your favorite episodes with friends or on social media is fantastic and super appreciated. And finally, for podcast updates, please follow us on Instagram at soulplay.collective and at Soulplay Collective on Facebook and YouTube. Appreciate the love and support. See you back here soon.